Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're actually going to be going over my August wrap up. I really didn't think I was going to film this one because I didn't really want to talk about most of these books, so this is probably going to be a very quick video because I feel like I read more in August than I had been reading, but I feel like the quality was not very good. Like, it was very mixed. We're going to see when we get into it, but I'm not remembering the best reading month. I definitely did not have any 5 stars, which is really sad. However, little sneak peek to September. I am so excited to talk about September when we do the wrap up. Again, as of right now, I don't have a ton of books that I've read, but the quality is fantastic. So I'm really excited about September right now. But we gotta talk about August first. So in order to get some closure for August, let's get right into the DNFs first. And we actually have one DNF and that's it. Although I will talk through some of these books and some of them should have been DNFs, but we did DNF A Treacher of Swans. I have no regrets about DNFing this one. This is like a strange kind of weird retelling of Swan Lake. And unfortunately, my biggest issue with this is it read incredibly middle grade. Like, the cover looks middle grade, it read very middle grade. So I was really sad about that because I thought this could be potentially a 5-star based on like Swan Lake and it felt very gothic, etc. But I just could not get past how young this felt and I just didn't feel any sort of connection to the storyline. So I did end up DNFing this one, probably about 150 pages. I gave it a really good shot. Like, I got to about there when I was finally like, I can't do this anymore. I don't think this is necessarily bad. I just don't think this is to my taste in books. That is somehow the only thing that I DNF'd this month, but again, like I said, I really should have DNF'd other things. So we're gonna get right into the 1-stars. I think we have one star. You already know what it is. I have talked about every single one of these books except for one in a video before, so nothing here is going to be surprising. So again, we're just going to whip through this. So my 1-star, and it is going to be on my worst books of the year, is With a Vengeance. This is my least favorite Riley Sager book, and I'm really disappointed about it. This is like one of my favorite covers. I'm probably still keeping this book. It is probably one of the only examples of keeping a 1-star that I actually have because I do want this in my collection since I have every other Riley Sager book. This will eventually be a DNF, but I didn't even buy this from Book of the Month. Like, I should have like seen that because Book of the Month always is picking Riley Sager books and they didn't choose this one. So I should have recognized that even they thought it was bad. So unfortunately, this just missed the mark completely in every aspect. It is taking place on a train. It is basically hailed as like a Murder on the Orient Express mixes with And Then There Were None. And I can actually definitely see the Agatha Christie writing style in this because that's one of my least favorite things about reading an Agatha Christie is just the writing style of it. I normally like her mysteries. They're entertaining. I don't love the writing style just because of time period issues. So this felt more historical than mystery. And then it got super weird. This book got so weird at the end where I was like trying to follow along and I was like, what is actually happening? Like, there were like multiple people who would die and then come back to life because they weren't really dead, and then they would die again, and then you had secret people on the train, and it was just so weird, and it was just overdone, overwritten. Everything was just convoluted and not crazy in a fun way. Like, I can do crazy in a fun way. Like, I would say his book, The House Across the Lake, that is crazy in a fun way. This is crazy in a what the hell just happened? I don't want to be reading this anymore way. I should have DNF'd this, but it was our book club pick, so I didn't want to do it. Next up, we have our 2-star books, which is only Terror at the Gates. Again, I had this in my influenced by booktubers. This was Julia's pick, and I'm torn on this one. I don't wish that I DNF'd this one because I really liked the ending and I think that this series could go in a really interesting direction, and that would actually bump this book up a little bit if the rest of the series is really good. But I generally just didn't love the pacing of this, and this turned out to be very heavily urban fantasy with some like mob things happening. I feel like there was a mob in this. It was very odd, and for me it just doesn't work. I don't want mobs in my fantasy books. I am not a big urban fantasy girl. So I liked Lilith as a character. I did struggle with the writing style, and this one basically is just following Lilith and us following like an alternate version of what her story is in an urban fantasy setting. And there's like artifacts and prophecies and stuff like that. So I loved part of it, but then I loathed the pacing, had an issue with the writing, and I just basically the middle section. So I feel like I liked this and I liked this and I did not like the middle section. So that's kind of why it gets a 2, but I could end up really liking the series. Next, we have a 2.5, and that is Heir of Storms. Again, writing, not great. This was a Fairy Loot pick. This is in my reading all of my June books, I believe. This, I should have DNF'd this one. I do regret not DNFing this one, and I should have realized that from the beginning when our main characters were Blaze and Flint, because they had firepower, which one of them actually didn't. But that's kind of the point of the book, is our main character was born into the like a fire family dynasty kind of thing, but she ends up having water powers instead. And there's like, when she was born, there was a big catastrophic water event that took place, and it makes everybody afraid of her. So the point is that they are trying to find the heirs of the new heirs of all of the elemental kingdoms, and it's just kind of like a competition. So the competition aspect was pretty cool, but this is so chunky and for no reason. Like, there was so much that could have been cut out. There was a surprise romance situation in this that I actually really, really liked. So I do wish I DNF'd it. I still do plan to try the next one because, again, I do like how this set up the next book. I think it could be interesting. It also could be very boring. So this one's gonna be hit or miss. Like, I feel like I remember Terror at the Gates, the ending, super well, and I already am starting to forget this one, so I don't know how much I'm gonna remember by next year. So this would have to probably be a reread, and I don't know if I'm willing to do that. Next up at the restart, I don't think anything is rated the same. Oh, the last two books are. The last two books are rated the same. But this is a 3-star, and this was also in reading all my June books. This is Love and Focus. This is just cute. We're following our main two characters who have dated in the past, so it's a second chance romance, which I normally don't like, but actually that was really good in this because of how it was done. I feel like they could have developed their relationship a little bit better in this one, because I feel like it went from them not talking to each other to them immediately like really being into each other again. And I feel like we needed a little bit in the middle there of like gradually getting back into that, and I would have liked it a little bit more. But otherwise, I really like the writing. It was a little bit more on the serious side compared to what I like for rom-coms, because it says a rom-com, but I didn't really get the com part of the rom-com. So a little more humor would have been really nice. It kind of just needed a funny character, side character, to uplift the spirit of the book a little bit. But yeah, if you just want to read a really fast romance and just have kind of a good time, I would actually recommend this one. But yeah, it's a second chance romance with a forced proximity situation because they have to work together again, and that's kind of just the whole plot. And we have our 3.75, and that is My Darling Dreadful Thing. I'm really excited that I ended up liking this. I definitely had some issues with it, but it is following our main character, Roos, and I think, what did I say? It was in like the 50s? Taking place in the 60s or the 50s, and our main character is basically possessed, or a version of possessed. It's very different than what you think of when you think of a possession story, and she is being used for these seances to make money, and then she ends up being like moved into a different situation. I don't want to say exactly what it is because I feel like it's not exactly a spoiler, but it's better to not know exactly what's happening. So we're following her and her circumstances, what has changed, the actual possession, dealing with abuse that she was going through from her caretaker, and this is a romance. My problem with this book was the romance, and I don't know if I just wasn't paying close enough attention to this book or what, but I could not get into the romance because I was picturing Roos, our main character, as like a 12-year-old kid, because it's kind of how she acted even though she was like 20 something, but because she was abused for so long, starved, etc., she acted like a little kid a lot of times. She had a kid childlike mentality, and our romantic interest was a widow who acted like she was like 70. So you had a 70-year-old dating a 12-year-old in my head, and I was like, I don't like this. That was not what was happening. That was not what was happening, which is why I gave it a 3.75. If that was what was happening, I would have DNF'd it. But that wasn't actually what was happening. So I kept having to like adjust my brain while I was reading it. But that made it so that I was not into the romance whatsoever, which is really sad because I think the romance could have been really good. And again, we have another sapphic storyline, and so that was just really that just didn't work for me. I liked everything else, but that aspect of it definitely brought the book down for me. So I think that was just me not being able to pay attention at the beginning of the book, apparently. But I have read Blood on Her Tongue by the same author, and I did like that one better. That one is a later release after this one. I do think that one is more polished, etc. So if you're curious about this author, I would do Blood on Her Tongue before this one, and then maybe come back to this one once you get a grasp of like her writing style, maybe. But I liked it. I think it's a really good book, so I will definitely be picking up whatever this author puts out next. And then we just have 2 4-stars left. That's it. The one that I enjoyed a little bit less, because like I liked both of them, the one that I enjoyed a little bit less is Bunny. This is between like a 3.75 and a 4. I am rounding it up to 4 because of how much I enjoyed this. I actually should have this written down as read twice, but I still didn't finish the last section because we were reading this for Katie Colson's Patreon Bunny Along thing that we we were doing during August, and that was my second read through because I read this, I think, at the beginning of August. And then I was going to reread it for the bunny along, but I went on vacation and missed the very last show, so I did not read the ending. So I need to reread it. So technically I did only read it once, one in like 1.75 times is what I read it. So I do need to finish it this month. So you'll probably see this again in my wrap up for September. I feel like it's got to be a 4 because of how much I dove deep into this book. And I think this is definitely a book of what you put into this book is what you're going to get out of this book, because it is convoluted. It is crazy. Half the time it is not making any sense. So you need to almost put an interpretation into this book to get something out of it. And so that's why the first time I read it, I think I gave it a 3. Is again, this is for my influence. I was influenced to read this by Katie Colson. Oh yeah, and my Darling Dreadful Thing, I was influenced, same video, by Artemis Daydreams or Kat. So this one was Katie Colson. And the first time I read it, it was like a 3, and then I thought about it was 3.5, and then I was like, okay, I'm sitting at like a 3.5. And then by the time I like almost finished it the second time, it's basically a 4 because I put into this, I felt like this was deeply talking about depression, and I loved how it talked about it. I loved how it talked about it. It was a very obscure way to talk about it, very ethereal, not in your face kind of thing, but it was like, ooh, emotional impact is there. And I really, really enjoyed specifically one section that I absolutely adored about it. So for me, it worked because it had that impactful thing about depression, but some other people read it without that type of stance, and they read it in a different way. And it's weird. I don't know if I could actually explain this, but it's following our main character, Samantha, who goes to the school. She's a graduate student. She is taking a class with a group of women who call themselves bunnies, and it very much has a vibe of Heathers. And just weird things start happening when they kind of indoctrinate her into their group. So it's got like a culty feeling. It's got a descent into madness feeling. It's got a hallucination feeling. It's got a talking about mental health. It's got a magic feeling. I mean, it's got everything. It's got everything in it. And again, you just kind of have to interpret it the way that you feel fit. But we'll see if I feel the same way after I read We Love You, Bunny, which is coming out at the end of this month. So anyway, 4-star. Very strange experience reading this, but I did enjoy it. Trigger warning though for this one, there are bunny deaths. I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. I didn't realize that, but yeah, bunnies do die in this book, and it was kind of sad. And then the last book that I read was the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook. This is the third book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl's series. This is my least favorite so far. I think the other two I gave 4.5s or 4s. This is like, that's the problem, is I gave the first two 4s. I'm also giving this one a 4, but it's like a lower 4. It's like a low, that's why I'm like, because Bunny again was also started at 3.5. So it's kind of like I didn't have any 4s either. It's very low 4s. I can't really talk about this one much, but the main series is following our main character Carl and Princess Donut, who is a cat, talking cat, and they are sucked into this dungeon, underworld dungeon thing to play these dungeon levels and try to survive as long as possible. And you meet a lot of new characters along the way. There's a lot of things happening. It's very adventure heavy, and it is a lit RPG. This one specifically is taking place on a level that is filled with trains, and I had a very hard time following with the train theories. I do plan to actually reread this series, just kind of sitting there and focusing on it, because I'm really bad about listening to audiobooks, but I do think the way to read this book is audiobook, because the audiobooks are so good. Like, they're so good. But sometimes I can really struggle sometimes with paying attention to audiobooks. So I think what I'm gonna do, because we are currently reading the 4th book, and again, I got a little bit lost in that one as well. I think I just need to sit down one day and just listen through and just sit and focus and crochet and listen instead of being distracted by other things. So I'm giving it a 4, a very low 4, borderline 3.75, but it could be much higher upon a read, like potentially 5-star upon a reread. So anyway, that is the final book. That is everything that I have for you guys. Like I said, I read a decent amount. It wasn't a lot, but again, I feel like the quality was like hit or miss. It was very hit or miss because we mainly had on the lower side books. Like, when you do a recap, you really want to see 4s and 5s. And for the fact that I had no 5-stars, it's been a while since I had a 5-star, which again has changed in September, which is so exciting. I may now have 2 5-stars in September, which is crazy. I really needed this reading month in September because August was a bit rough. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely let me know what you read in August, your favorite book, what your least favorite book is, what you hope to get to in September. Also, let me know if you've read any of these, if you enjoyed any of them, or if you have any recommendations based on anything that I read and I enjoyed in this video. And yeah, if you guys have anything else to say, but you want to let me know that you were here, how about, I've already used a bunny emoji in one of our videos. Let's see, do we have a dinosaur emoji or, oh, let's do a dinosaur emoji. If there's no dinosaur emoji, then leave a cat emoji for Princess Donut. But if there's a dinosaur, leave a dinosaur. That would be very exciting to see. That will let me know that you are here. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like it if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future content. I try to do one of these every single month. I almost missed this month, but I didn't. And I'm definitely going to do a wrap up for September because I am so excited about September so far. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and I'll see you in the next one.